Hello Fada. Accent on the Irish language. Basic notes and background for the curious. With session leader Renata Henley. From the Hedge School at the Irish Roots Cafe. More courses and information found at www.irishroots.com.
Fáilte roimh a chairde go dtí Hello Fada, seo Renata anseo.
This is Hello Fada. This is Mike talking to you, and we're going to talk today. The phrase of the day is really going to be all about branches of the Gaelic language. And I think the first time I thought about this was when I was in a beginner's class with Renata, and she said, we were talking, I said, I came here to learn the Gaelic language. Oh, her face grimaced.
Oh, it did.
It was painful. She had liked me before, but not after that. And I'm telling you, she explained to me why it's not so, and I'd like you to do that again now.
Okay, well, first off, in Ireland, nobody calls it Gaelic. Only in America is it called Gaelic. In Ireland, it's called Irish.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the reason is Gaelic is actually Scots-Gaelic or Scots-Gaelic. So you don't want that kind of confusion. If you go into a Barnes & Noble or a Borders or something and you pick up Learn to Speak Gaelic, you've got yourself a Scottish book.
Yeah, yes. And
Learn to Speak Irish.
Yeah, it's like modern usage. And they both descend from the Gaeilge line. I don't know how you say that.
Gaeilge, that's excellent, Michael. Yeah, they're all Indo-European languages.
Yes.
They're all one branch of Indo-European, which is Celtic. And that started out on the continent as its own type of language. And then as it dispersed, they changed, of course, and came through the centuries and evolved to become Irish, Scottish, Welsh, Breton, Cornish, and Manx.
Ooh, so those are what is that? 6 different branches?
6 different branches.
Now, is there anything in there from the French area where it's they think they've traced some DNA of the Irish back?
Is that the Breton?
I think it probably is. What do they call that area? Is it just
Brittany?
Brittany, yeah. So
not to be confused with Brittany.
Yeah, yes, that's right.
The new Irish name, Brittany.
Brittany. Yeah. So there's 6 different branches.
Right.
And you wouldn't say, I'm going to learn Gaelic. You'd be saying, that'd be like if you're going to learn the English language, you say, I'm going to learn Indo-European. It's not quite as deep as that, but one layer difference. You're talking about a bigger grouping. And people now say, when they say Gaelic, they're meaning Scots-Gaelic.
Right.
Okay.
Right. I don't know why it has become that way in America, that when you say, when you want to tell people you're learning Irish, it is actually easier to say I'm learning Gaelic. Maybe because if you said I'm learning Irish, they'd say Irish what? Irish dancing, Irish singing, Irish
Now, what if
cookery?
What if you say I'm learning Gaeilge?
Oh, Gaeilge. Now that's the word for Irish in the Irish language.
So you're really mixing languages.
Yes.
When you say that sentence.
Like I'm learning Francais.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So maybe that doesn't work too well.
Okay. People would understand it, but that was sort of the first thing I noted. Say, there's something to learn here.
Right.
Perhaps more than I thought. Well, what else? Are all those other branches? I know there's some Scots-Gaelic speakers around. Yeah. What about the other branches? Are they still existent?
I think Cornish has been gone since the mid-1900s or maybe earlier. I have this somewhere in a book, but I don't remember off the top of my head. And then Manx, I believe, is gone as well. So Cornish and Manx are gone. And then the other 4 branches are still alive. And they're quite strong, a lot of them. The Welsh take a lot of politics with their language. So the Welsh might be the healthiest of the 6 branches, of the 4 remaining branches.
Oh.
And then, of course, the Bretons also they're bilingual French and Breton, but I think it's fairly strong amongst a small population.
Yes, they're holding on.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And could you tell when you hear another speaker speak? Could you tell it's related to the Irish if it was say Breton?
Scots certainly.
Yes.
And Welsh is almost more from a spelling standpoint than a spoken standpoint.
Okay.
And I don't know about Breton enough because I think they've had a lot of influence from French.
Well, let me tell you, since the name of our little session here is Hello Fada, is the Fada in all these other languages?
Well, I believe it's in Manx and Scottish and Irish. And I don't know about the other branch, which is called the P-Celtic or Brythonic branch.
Oh, yes, I've seen that, and it just sort of throws me when I see that.
Yeah, the Gaeilge is the Scots, the Manx, and the Irish.
Okay.
And then the Brythonic or the P Celtic instead. The Q Celtic is the Welsh, the Cornish, and which one am I forgetting? Breton.
Breton, okay.
So.
And the healthiest of all of them is probably
Welsh.
Welsh, and then
Out of the Gaeilge branch, the healthiest might be Irish, I would say.
Okay. And there's still some areas that in Ireland you've got the Gaeltacht, but what really survives in reality? Where does it really survive?
Well, it's making a resurgence, but yes, it does. It has had continuous life on the western fringes of Ireland. So the northwest fringe, the west-west fringe, and the southwest fringe.
Yes, and you can go back into old maps from the 17th century and see the areas where the Irish chiefs held out and weren't totally conquered. And,
Right.
Sometimes those match up pretty good.
Yeah, they do.
It's where the people held on to the language, and that meant something to them. But you read so often, after a while, the kids grow up speaking both languages, and the old folks just speak the Irish. And
When I was at Berkeley, everyone was appalled and sad about how quick the Irish language had died in the space of a small amount of time.
Yes.
But one of our professors turned it back around and said, what other people are so clever that they switched languages entirely in the space of one generation?
Yes.
So the grandparents speak only Irish, the grandkids speak only English, and that one generation in between did both.
That's right. Yeah, and it was such a battle in the beginning of culture. It was like the English thought if they could change this culture in the schools, everything was taught in another language, and Irish was outlawed, so to speak.
Yes, and you were beaten for speaking Irish as a school child.
And they thought that would win the hearts of the people. But you know what? The Irish said, hey, this is a pretty neat language. We're going to learn English too, and we're going to use it, and we're going to go to the market, and we're going to be able to talk to anybody, but we're not changing who we are.
That's right. Yeah.
And so it's pretty neat. They realize that and say, big deal.
Yeah.
A rose is a rose.
Yeah.
Or how would you say that? A rose is in Irish.
A roche.
A roche.
Yeah. Oh, no, I think it's rose, but it's roisin for little rose.
Oh, roisin, little rose. Yeah. And roisin do would be
a little black rose or a little dark rose.
Okay.
Little black-haired roisin, probably.
Yes, that's a pretty word. Very pretty word. Well, that's interesting to know that there's all those different branches of those languages, and they're all so closely related, and they sort of formed with the Celtic tribes on the continent of Europe, and they spread out, and during hard times or good times, if they had a lot of population, they just sort of hopped over to the islands. And how come it wasn't quite as widespread in England?
Well, I think it was at one point, and then it shrunk to Cornish, and those people are the ones that also migrated to Brittany, the original people on the British Isles.
Yes.
That's why Brittany has a Celtic language. It's not that it wasn't left over from the continental days. It came south from Britain.
Yes.
So you've got the Welsh and the Cornish and the Breton all from that original.
Well, and the Romans came into England and didn't pay much heed to the Irish language or the Celtic language groups. They would have looked down on that. So that played a big role into it, and they never really got to Ireland.
No, they didn't.
And so the Irish held on a little bit longer.
That's it.
Well, that does it for me. I'm just going to turn the whole thing over to Renata because she's so good, and see what parting comment she might have on the branches of the Gaelic languages.
I don't really have any more to say on it. Oh, I do have one more thing to say on it, and that is that the reason Scots and Irish are so close is because of the Dalriada invasion, and I bet you know something about that.
Well, I know that they left the north of Ireland and they spread out, and they were the conquerors. You know how we talk about the Scots coming down here and the mercenary forces up there with O'Donnell and O'Neill, and they fought for and against the Irish. But, you go back to the Dalriada, and they actually went out and colonized in Scotland.
From Ulster, from the northeast of Ireland, they colonized the west coast of Scotland, northwest coast of Scotland, and it originally was the Irish language in Scotland.
Yes.
Up until the 1700s, when it was decided that there were enough differences that they could call it its own language.
Oh, and who decided that?
I don't know. Scholars, I believe.
Scholars. It would have been Scottish scholars.
Oh, maybe Irish ones.
I don't know. Oh, they would say, no, we don't want any part of them. They're separate.
They've changed.
They don't talk right at all.
That's right. So that's kind of interesting.
That makes it even more hard to determine when you say, I'm Scots. No, I'm Irish. Well, actually, especially if you're from the north up there, the way the DNA switched around, it's hard to tell that there's that much of difference.
Right. And if you speak Northern Irish, Donegal Irish, a lot of Scots-Gaelic is very comprehensible and understandable and easy to learn.
And I heard that the Highland Scots were the closest to the original people that settled in Ireland of anybody.
Wow. I hadn't heard that. That's
Yeah,
cool.
well, you hear these things, and then who do you blame if they're wrong?
Yeah. And how do you find out?
No one. But we're just here to spread some of these stories around, and then you get to go out and hunt around and find out if they're true or not. And we want you to let us know if they are. Just let us know on the webpage, or leave a phone on our recorder, and let us know your thoughts, and we'll be glad to share those with everybody out there. And gosh, here I thought we had our last word 5 minutes ago, and Renata said she had not a thing to say, and here we are going. We just enjoy this too much. But just remember, we got 3 tracks, the free podcast sessions. We've also got the very inexpensive pay sessions to help you move to another level if you want to. And then we've got the extra special tutoring. And that's just, we're making our special plans on that right now. So let us know what you think, or if you're interested, you just call in or email and we'll get you in touch right away. Renata, close it out.
Slán Anish.
Hello Fada is a presentation of the Irish Head School at www.irishroots.com. These introductory sessions are for those curious about the Irish language and for those considering a course of study in the future. Renata, your session leader, also offers a course of study in the Irish language and language services on a regular basis. Contact us on our webpage at irishroots.com or by mail at the Irish Roots Cafe, Box 7575, Kansas City, Missouri 64116. Leave a message on our phone recorder at 816-256-3360. Your hedge school needs your support. Sponsors and memberships are always welcome. So ends another session from the sunny side of the hedge.